What's going on with them at this point?
Well, Horford was simply financial. He liked playing in Boston. They certainly loved him, but he and his agent believe there is a bigger deals out there in the marketplace for him. This is essentially his last contract. He's 33 years old. You're able to negotiate an extension with your own team, and they were so far apart. They decided yesterday when he declined the option to move on. Al Horford will play somewhere else next season.
Quickly, before we get to Kyrie, I want to ask you about what Jalen said there about the Warriors. Are we not giving them enough respect, knowing what we know about the injury situation and, of course, KD?
Yeah, you simply can't replace those players. They're not going to have KD, even if he re-signs, he's probably out for the season. Klay Thompson out for most of the season. And there's no exception that replaces players like that. They can help to fill their roster out, but I think there's just going to be deeper, more talented teams over the course of the 82 games than that Golden State team next year.
We got that for Jay Rose. Back to the Celtics. Kyrie, we're talking about that maybe he is ghosting the Celtics, which for those out there that don't exactly know what that means in current terms, that means that you're not texting somebody back who you've been communicating with regularly. What are you hearing about the communication between Kyrie and the Celtics?
I've been told throughout that Danny Ainge had talked with Kyrie Irving and there had been communication. Now, it can change over a few days. I think Boston is fairly resigned to the fact that Kyrie Irving is probably going to leave them in free agency.
It's amazing, Greeny. As much as we talk about the Lakers and maybe some of their dysfunction, it seems like the Celtics have their own brand of it.
Yeah, they appear to be at a crossroads at this point, I would think, as you look at the Celtics and their circumstance right now. We actually have a little bit of a column we can make into something called required reading for you here from the Boston Globe, who wrote about the Kyrie Irving and the Celtics, that the strangest part of the Irving situation right now is that it appears he has essentially ghosted the Celtics. The people within the organization that he has spoken with, the writer Adam Himmelsbach, have made it clear that they've had little, if any, communication with Kyrie in recent weeks. So what?
What's wrong with that?
What does it mean? You tell me what's wrong with it.
Kyrie ain't coming back to the Celtics. Like that seems apparent. Doesn't that seem apparent to everybody else here? I mean, it's, I don't know, you make a move with your agent, you're changing, you want to have your thing. If you sign with Roc Nation, you're moving in a different direction. I mean, this year was an anomaly for Kyrie in that situation, being there, having to learn how to lead. And I think this is actually, it's surprising because a year ago, I was sitting here saying, I think the Celtics are going to win the whole thing. And think about how far this franchise has came. Now it's even losing Al Horford, and you're saying, okay, if you lose Al Horford, he gets more money in the open market. We're still going to have a lot of cap space, but who are you going to go out and sign? Like, who is up to go out there and sign? Is Boston a destination that free agents want to be at? And it does not look like that's the case right now.
I remember this time last year when we first started this show, I was talking about all of the assets that Danny Ainge had in the locker room and as first-round picks. And I was like, if I was playing poker, I would cash him in. I think he held too long because you're trying to bring back you can't top what they did without Gordon Hayward, who was coming off a major injury, and then you add an all-NBA player in Kyrie, who's thrust into a leadership role that has already won a championship, that's not committed to you long-term. You know you're going to keep Brad. Al Horford is their most important player over the last couple of years. Second in points, first in rebounds, first in assists, first in blocks on their team. So now you lose him as well. You're going to lose Morris probably up front. So it's going to be a new-look Celtics team that should get younger.
And I think the first thing you said is the one I agree with the most. Danny Ainge has played poker a really long time, but, the expression, you got to know when to hold him and know when to fold him. At some point in this, he waited too long, and I don't know this for certain, maybe Woj could help me with it at some point, but I think he held on to all that stuff with the idea in mind he was going to get Anthony Davis. I think he thought he was going to bring Anthony Davis to Boston. That's what he was saving all that capital for. But now that ship sails, and they've held on to all these guys. They lose the pieces. They lose Kyrie for nothing. They're going to lose Al Horford essentially for nothing. All these young guys are kind of disgruntled and took a step backwards. The Celtics, to your point, have gone from being the future of the NBA, I think, to something of a mess.
I agree. I mean, I think they're going to be in the middle of the Eastern Conference next year. Everybody else is excelling but the Celtics right now.
And how about this? Rich Paul made sure that the Celtics knew that Anthony Davis wasn't interested in going there.
Right. He did that article. It came out.
Okay. Now, so Anthony Davis tells the team he wants to get traded. All of us see on paper that the Celtics probably had the best assets to do it. His father came out and spoke against the Celtics. They continue to talk against the Celtics in a Sports Illustrated article. Now, all of a sudden, he ends up in L.A.